I bought this shitty power boat in upstate New York a couple of summers ago, and it was a huge waste of money. But I bought it from this guy, and it had like the back of it was cracking. I mean, it was just the dumbest thing. But I bought it because where I was upstate, then we were on the Hudson River. So I had this weird idea to take the boat to New York City from Hudson, New York.
Hey, it's connected.
120 miles up. And I called my dad, who we don't really speak much, my dad, and I called him out of nowhere and said, "You want to take this trip with me?" So he drove, and I'm with my dad, who I don't really communicate with, and we took this trip down the Hudson River on this boat. And when we got into the mouth of the fucking Hudson here, New York Harbor.
The Hudson River isn't really that bad, but there are parts around Manhattan that are fucking treacherous.
By the way, I had no knowledge of boating or anything.
Oh no!
You don't need anything to buy a boat. You just buy it.
You don't really need a license.
You go to the. You have to register. You only have to go to the DMV to register the trailer that it sits on.
Yeah.
And when you do that, if they have one, they throw you a boating manual and say, if you could take a look at this.
Yeah.
So I just went out on the river, just with no fucking idea. I don't even know how much my gas tanks hold.
Oh, you are fucking crazy. There's an accident waiting to happen.
You don't even know where the next gas station or the fill up will be.
Well, because I'm fine with if I run out of gas on the boat, and then someone takes it and they keep the boat. I don't care. So I stop at a gas station, I find this river community there is. It's really fascinating. I stop at a gas station, he fills me up, and I just I tell the guy, I'm going to New York City, tell me everything I need to know. So he goes, well, first of all, you're missing about 50 things that
are essential.
That you have to have. You're in illegal territory. And he gives me life vests. But because I'm buying shit from him, he's happy to give me information.
Sure.
And he explains to me that Hudson River is not a river. It's not a river at all. It's not a river with a source that's flowing to the ocean. Yeah. It's called an estuary. It's a crack
it's
in
affected
the
by
continent.
tides.
Yes, and it's basically the Atlantic Ocean sloshes up in and out of the river. And he says if you hit Manhattan at a bad time, you're going to be in the Atlantic Ocean, basically.
What do you mean? You mean it's all ocean water?
Great.
It's ocean water sloshing in and out, and it's flowing. It's flowing now, but it's tidal. It's a tidal estuary. And so there was, because when I was it was like glass. It was beautiful where I was.
Of course.
And he goes, it's not going to stay like that. Try not to get there around rush hour, because also there's ferries down there.
Yes.
That don't care.
Of course.
Who you are.
Yeah.
What you do.
So that I don't listen to people. So I showed up at like 5:30 p.m. on the fucking Hudson River, and I'm going under the George Washington Bridge. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever done. I'm with my dad, who's 70-something. I don't even know how old he is. And my dad is trying not to show how much this is hurting his body, because I'm his son, and he's ashamed. That I'm actually I'm fucking shattering his skeleton. His fucking teeth are falling out and shit.
Yeah. And he's just like, are you hearing that sound in the hall? That
oh man, we were hitting so hard.
Bam sound.
And I don't know how to ride a boat, so I don't know if you're supposed to.
You probably didn't have it trimmed out right or anything.
Nothing.
Like you could trim a boat out for water where you're putting the front end down.
I know a little bit about
water.
that, but I don't have.
Did you have your trim tabs?
I had a trimmy thing on the throttle. And I'm trying to make that hard ride, man.
But he's probably riding way back, just slamming into waves
so hard, and
you think the hull's gonna crack.
It's crazy. And then when we get further and further in, there's a point where I've got the engine running at full bore, and I ain't moving. I'm just going up and down, bang, bang, because we realized and we're getting soaked, and we realized that and ferries are fucking booking past us, just crazy honking at us, not stopping.
Holy
nothing.
Shit.
And I realized that, because I pictured, what's the worst that happens? The boat sinks under you, and then you just tread water and you wave at the helicopter.
Ferry picks you up or something, or the helicopter.
I realized if this thing goes down, the waves are we're gonna just disappear into black water. There's gonna be nothing left of us. And I'm trying to and also, I was supposed to park in New Jersey. I called ahead and rented a space on a dock in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I'm
slip
next to Manhattan, and I can see New Jersey, but I can't move. I can't get across the river.
Kind of
because
fucking
ferries.
piece of shit engine.
No, and also these waves are throwing me like towards these big fucking cement walls in Manhattan. And with
This
big
sounds like
fucking
a
old
nightmare.
wooden pile. It's like the worst thing that ever happened. My arms are aching from like
trying to keep the boat.
trying to keep the boat in
Did
one
you regret your
direction.
decision?
I started to regret a
Did
lot.
you wave to New Jersey as you were heading toward the ocean?
Yeah, it took
Goodbye,
us.
Jersey.
Oh my god!
It took us about 4 hours to get the 120 miles from Hudson, New York to George Washington Bridge,
Yeah.
and from the
Okay.
George Washington Bridge to that big Colgate sign in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I think that took us like several hours. I mean, it just took all fucking day. I mean, it was the worst thing.
And then other times of the day, the water's sloshing out, and you know,
that night the way I got
Then
home
you're
was
fine,
I
yeah.
went home. I did research fucking like a person.
you knew the tides at that
I
point.
sent my
or-
dad home on the train because I had to get the boat out of there.
Shattered skeleton, broken teeth in his hand.
Put about 50 years on him.
Holy
took
shit.
a few of the last few years he had left.
Oh my god! That's
And I got on
horrible.
the boat at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I got back on the boat and it was just like a piece of glass. And I stood on the boat, just got going around. It was the greatest. Then that was the greatest thing. By the Statue of Liberty, around the base under Manhattan, went up the East River.
Yeah.
By the
By LaGuardia and
by
the
the
prison.
UN building and everything, and the prisons. And I had the greatest right in the middle of the night with a fucking
I would love
Yeah.
to do that,
radio
man.
blasting, just standing on this boat, just fucking.
And
I would
earlier
love
in
to
the
do
day,
that.
it was just bam.
Oh my god!
Oh, is that fucked
Was
up?
that the tides, though, or just all the traffic,
It was
or both?
both, because the traffic stirs up
chews
after a
it
while.
up.
Just, it's this cauldron.
But it's the
Fucking sick.
when high tide hits in the Atlantic. Yeah, it pushes the water up the river.
Yep.
So the actual river's flowing down from
Yes.
the Hudson, but the tide is stronger, so it pushes it back.
Yeah.
Pushing it
Then
back.
when the tide lets go, all that fucking water that it pushed up comes rushing back in.
Yeah.
But when you're going in when the tide's coming up and
It's
you're trying to go
sick.
south down the Hudson River, fuck you.
It's
That's
crazy.
you're battling the ocean.
We're the
in
only
a tiny
boat-
channel.
We were the only boat going south.
Heading that way, and they were
The
probably
only
all
one.
like, "Who is this
No,
fucking
what a
idiot?"
idiot.
And other boats were looking at us.
Yeah.
I noticed it because we went into the Tappan Zee. We went into all this.
Yeah.
And when you're on a little boat looking up at those structures, they scare the shit out
Oh,
of you.
yeah,
Like,
they're
it makes you
giant.
feel like you're standing on something too
Looking
high.
nothing.
Like it gives you this vertigo
Yeah.
when you're by one of those pylons that supports the Tappan Zee Bridge,
Uh-huh.
and you're going by it on a little boat. It's just, you feel sick to your stomach because you're like, this is all just too huge for me. This is like Blade Runner. Like I can't hack.
Wait,
this.
what kind of, was it like a little motorboat? It was like a,
It was smaller than that shit that's upside down in Florida right now.
Well, that's a
that we're looking at.
20-footer that we're looking at on TV.
It was, I don't know how many feet it was.
Probably had
It was
like
four seats,
18
front and back,
maybe, or a
Can
and
I-
a little tiny fake cuddy cabin. in
Can
the-
I solve this
Oh.
mystery for everybody? The NFL player thing. It's so obvious what happened because the guy they rescued was sitting on top of the thing, holding on to the anchor.
Yeah.
When this fucking thing flipped over, it was every man for themselves, and it's
Yeah.
like fuck you. I know we're all friends, but now it's like whoever the strongest guy is going to survive because
Yeah.
there was only one slot to hang on, and it
That's
was the
right.
position that guy took.
He was Kate Winslet while Leo froze in the water.
slipped under the surface.
I would bet money there was some kind of struggle, and this guy won over the other three because they all went into panic mode. Because if you look at the boat, there's nowhere else to hold on to.
Yeah, that's possible.
You would think, maybe life jackets.
Yeah,
things
why
like
only
that.
one? It feels like they got in a fight about something else.
Yeah, maybe.
Like maybe why are you in the NFL and I suck? That's horrible.
But-
People are dead.
But that's the
I
only
didn't know
reason.
'em.
That's the only reason one
It's
guy
not my
survived.
mom. It's not me. It's not my kids.
That's the only reason
Fuck
one guy
you.
survived. There was the only one spot
Right.
available, and there was four of them.
That was it.
So they went into panic.
Maybe
the one
they
guy
chose
got up
him.
there.
Maybe they chose
Fuck
him.
no. The other guys just they're fish.
like
food,
the
man.
anchor. There's no way for four people.
Look at the boat and how it's tipped over. There's
What part was
nowhere
the
to hold
anchor?
on to.
What part was the anchor? That hole? That thing looks like a hole?
They said they were anchored.
I don't know. I don't think. Here's what I
But-
think happened because, and I'll take it from my own stupid experience. The thing you don't realize till you're out there, like in any kind of bad waters, you picture shit from a movie.
Yeah.
You picture shit going down and that you just step off the boat while it's sinking, and then that you and your friends tread water and talk about it for a while.
Yeah.
And that one by one you try to help each other, and whatever a shark comes and eats one.
Ugh.
That there's this whole thing where the humans survive, but when a
Right.
boat goes down, it takes fucking a nanosecond for your dumb little lungs to fill with water, and you're
And you're just
done.
dead.
sink.
You're gone.
The other three guys.
You're being picked at by little fish as you're going down to the bottom.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
That's it. They're just that lifeless fucking dull eyeball is just being plucked away.
Oh God!
It's just weird that one survivor had a nice seat on top of the boat. He was,
Yeah. Well, he
king
was
of the
lucky.
hill.
He was king of shit.
lucky, or he had better reflexes, because that shit happens really when a boat capsizes in bad water. There's just everybody dies.
It's not a slow. Hey, I think we're rolling over.
Yeah.
This boat's
No,
rolling.
it's, hey, what they?
We're underwater.
Oh, that's not
God.
oxygen. Whoops.
Dead.
I'm dead now.
But your boat story rules. I always wanted to go up and down that Hudson River too. Now I
was well
learned a
worth it.
lot today from you.
Oh,
It was well
I'm gonna
worth
have to
it.
study some shit before I do
Well,
it.
because I learned, because when I went up to Hudson to get this house that now belongs to my ex-wife. We went up, we found this town called Hudson in New York. That's this really, it looks like Nantucket. It's a very colonial looking kind of, it looks like a New England town. And I read about it and I found out that what Hudson, New York is, it's 120 miles up the river. And what it is they were people from Nantucket who were whalers. And back in the 1800s, the British kept just burning their ships and burning their town. The British would just sit outside of Nantucket and just lob.
those British.
There was no war
were
going on.
bastards.
They were just being assholes. Seriously. During the 1800s, that's the War of 1812 was just the British just being dicks.
Yeah.
And us going, you really got to cut the shit. And them going, hey, fuck off. And just,
Yeah.
they would just launch cannonballs in and set Nantucket on fire for fun. So a bunch of people near Nantucket said, let's just get out of here. And they all left together, all these whalers. And they found Hudson, New York, which was a nice place to build a town up the Hudson River. And so what they would do is they take their whaling ships. This is the fucking 1800s. People, like, with wood and iron.
Yeah.
They took their ships and they go out into the fucking North Atlantic and they kill a whale. And they drag it with these boats up the Hudson River, all those fucking miles. And they cut it up and then send it down the river in pieces.
You know,
and
that
sell it in
isn't
New York.
right, man.
Oh, the whale thing?
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
Like back then, there were fucking whales. You could walk across the whales.
You had to get it
Fuck
to
'em.
England.
Yeah, I got to go to England. I'm going to just walk
Step across whales.
I'm going to drive my little fucking jalopy across the whales.
Exactly. But so then they were safer there. The English couldn't get at them.
They said,
So
fuck it, we're going to
Yeah, and then it became this port because people were, so farmers in upstate New York would take their sheep and slaughter them in Hudson and send the meat down river to New York City.
So fucking primitive.
Yeah, that's how shit
Amazing.
was.
Yeah.
There's the town we bought a house in used to be all whorehouses for farmers.
Really?
They were whorehouses with stables. So like a farmer would
Nice.
drive his sheep.
You could fuck a girl or a sheep.
Yeah, it was
or
like a few
horse.
miles out of Hudson. So the night before you went into Hudson to sell your sheep, you'd put them in a stable and fuck a whore, and then take your sheep the rest of the way
What a
home.
great little system.
I know.
Everything like planned
simple
out,
then.
to make people happy.
Exactly.
Keep the economy going.
There's a guy
Right.
that had an experience like you did that you just told. Steve in Pennsylvania. Steve.
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, Catskill, New York. 20-foot bayliner, single screw, 175 horse. I read the tide charts. My business partner had a 33-foot Carver. We used to take down and from that same marina, go down around the statue, come back. It was a great time. So I bought this 20-footer, put the wife, the two kids in it, my two girls, real young at the time, and I took off, big shot, down the Hudson, beautiful ride, and I got down to that area that you're talking about. I was doing prop stands where the boat was just almost just like straight up, the
Yep.
front of the boat straight up, motor just whining, hull banging.
Shit.
I finally get into a marina because I needed fuel. My wife and my oldest daughter got off the boat and said, "We
And
are
you never
not
saw 'em
going
again."
back."
Yeah, we're not
Never
getting
saw them
I'm
again.
running off at the gas station guy. Fuck you.
No, that shit is gnarly. It's really fucking bad because it's New York Harbor. Manhattan. People don't understand. There is no Hudson. The Hudson's not on the west and the east. There's no such thing as the East River.
Yeah,
That's what people don't understand. It's all in New York Harbor. It's a harbor of the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
That on the left side, it looks like a river, so we call that the Hudson River.
Yeah.
And then we call the East River
it's
the
just
East
because
River.
there's Manhattan Island
Yeah,
in the middle of it,
of the
so-
sloshy, crazy, icy ocean.
Yeah.
So is it seawater? The Hudson's seawater?
Well, no, it's
Certain times a day,
It's
it's
brackish
salt water.
certain parts
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
day.
It's like salty.
It pushes the salt water.
It's
water.
where,
Yeah.
water, whatever the fuck.
And then when it's the river's running out, into the ocean, it's fresh water.
Yeah, and where this guy is Catskill. There's a harbor. There's a little place there where you can take your boat in and you get something to eat. I mean, it's a fun world, the boat world, but
yeah, it really
you
is.
don't know what the fuck you're doing, like I didn't.
I was in the boat world years ago with my mother and Sal. Sal was just Mr. fucking boat.
How big was the boat?
His is a 38-foot Sea Ray.
Okay.
I mean, it was really fucking nice, really nice. And he would drink.
You could park that shit anywhere.
He would fucking drink on the way from, like, I guess they were in where is it? Dr. Oakdale, Long Island, out to Watch Hill on Fire Island. And he'd be drinking fucking, we'd all be slamming down drinks and stuff. He'd be making mudslides and blenders down in the kitchen, and this thing had like a galley and everything. And he'd be hammered and back this fucking thing into slips
Yes.
that like were, there's no way.
These guys are amazing. They can do that.
Dual screws, so
Yeah.
he's running like the transmission to get the props going in opposite directions
Yeah.
to turn the boat, so he could swing the thing
well,
around and then back it into the slip.
Really, the first boat I had was a little orange, like with a white steering wheel. Like it just looked like a little race car, you know. And it was
A
just
go-kart for the water.
two-seat boat, like
Yeah.
really tiny little fiberglass boat that I saw on someone's yard for sale for $800. And I was like, "Fuck it,
Bargain.
I'm gonna just buy it." And I just knocked on the guy's door, and he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll pay it." And I gave him the $800. It's just sitting there on a trailer. And then I'm like, "Well, now what do I do?" Like from scratch.
Yeah.
And I had an old Ford Ranger pickup, and I went to the fucking Napa and bought the ball
Trailer hitch,
the trailer hitch. And I got the wrong size and went back. And then I put the fucking...
Already wrong.
Yeah, and then the guy watched from his window laughing as I tried to put a trailer hitch on a fucking truck. It took me like an hour sweating. And then I took it down to the Hudson where they had to, you back your boat down.
Oh, the Ram.
Yeah, and I have no idea how to do it or what
How'd
to do.
you do?
So there's an old man, literally an old seaworthy looking man with a white beard watching me do this. And I just decided I'm not just going to try. So I just...
Oof.
It takes me hours to line it up because when you're backing something with a trailer, it jackknifes on
it's
you, and
backwards.
All of your instincts are wrong.
Let me tell you, I had a jet ski and I had the same problem until somebody told me, put your hand on the bottom of the steering wheel, and wherever you want the back end of the trailer
That's
to go,
genius.
your hand. Let your hand go that way. So instead
Nobody
of trying to
told me
think
that.
right, left, I want the trailer to go this way.
Yeah.
I move my hand that way.
That's really
and if it's on the
smart.
bottom of the steering wheel, and then it got to the point where I could do it with my eyes closed after a while.
Well,
but
I backed it down, and
first
I also
time, oof.
the boat is strapped hard to a trailer, and the plug is out in the back of it. That's how you keep a boat.
Right, yeah.
You keep it strapped down to the trailer with the plug in the back. Now, what I know now is the way you launch a boat, and then it's tethered in the front by a winch.
Yeah.
So the way you do it is you let go of the strap. You take the straps off, so it's just loose, only held on by the winch, and you put a plug in the back of the boat, so that when the trailer goes into the water, the wheels of the trailer go down in the water, and the boat floats on top of the water. Mm-hmm. Well, what I was doing was it's held to the trailer, so the trailer's dragging the boat, and it immediately fills with water. It completely fills with water, and it's also, because it's now weighs billions of tons, threatening to drag my fucking truck into the water, and I am peeling
Were you
out.
panicking?
What's Popeye
I'm losing
doing
my
watching
mind.
you? Is he laughing
I'm losing
at
my
you?
mind. Oh,
A
yeah,
little
the
bit
guy,
of a panic
he's
setting?
just watching, and I have the car floored, the truck floored, and the wheels going.
You're just trying to hold ground.
Just trying not to, because it's just a shitty rear-wheel drive, and the rear wheels are now in water.
Oh,
and I've just
man.
got water shooting everywhere and smoke, and now the tailpipe is starting to go in. Like, I'm going in the fucking water, and somehow I found some traction somewhere in there, and the whole truck like lurched forward and is screaming wheels. And the boat came out gung, gung, with water splashing. It was the craziest spectacle. And I stopped and I look up at the guy, and he goes, try again. He goes, what'd you learn?
What'd you learn? That's great.
And so I got out of the truck, and I'm like, okay, there's a plug in the back. That was dumb to keep it strapped. I said all this out loud, and he's going, yeah. And he said, you know what? The guy said to me, you're going to be having the time of your life in about half an hour. And I waited for the boat to empty out. put the plug in, and if he was right, in half an hour I was on the fucking river.
Owning a boat.
Just
This is
going
great.
at it with
Owning a
beer.
boat.
Yeah, with beer. Yeah, I'll never do it again.
Boy, how do you get it back onto the trail? Like, what if
Then
there's
you have
people
to,
there?
You have to. No, you have. Yeah, if there's people there waiting, like expert boaters,
They'll start yelling at
they
you.
hate you.
They're not going to be
They
happy
will
with you.
And
fucking
I
yell at
can't.
you.
The thing I can't do that those guys do is just fucking drive my boat back onto the thing and then run up to the to the top of it and winch it.
You back the trailer into the water.
Yeah.
And then
Where's your boat while you do that?
Your